Right. Good afternoon, everyone. I still have some people joining, so I'll give it a second to kind of buffer here. Um, all right. I'm Elizabeth Duratzos. I'm the School Success Coordinator for the Northeast and Midwest regions for the Positivity Project. And I have my partner here, Melissa. Melissa, do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Wilson. I'm the School Success Coordinator for the West and the Southeast regions of the country. It's good to be here.
I do want to just kind of explain, my daughter's having her tonsils out and my mother-in-law was supposed to come to help and she got the stomach flu. So I'm in the car. So if anything cuts out, Melissa is going to jump in for me. So I apologize. Such is life, right? But we're super excited about today. Project-based learning was always something that I loved to do in my own classroom when I was an elementary teacher. And I'm super excited that the Positivity Project has their own sort of spin on it. So we have our resource development team member, Stephanie DiNola here. She is one of the people that helped create all of these resources, and she's going to walk through all of this with you today. So without further ado, I'll throw it over to you, Stephanie.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie DiNola. I am a part of the resource development team. I was a teacher for 7 years. I have my master's in educational psychology, and I've been working with P2 for, I don't know, about 3.5, 4 years. So I really enjoy this. And one of my first projects for P2 was to write these PBLs. So I'm super excited to share with you our library and kind of walk through what's there and what we have to offer. And then I will leave time at the end to answer any questions you all might have. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm just going to walk you through how you find all of this on our website and what's all there. So if you're on the homepage of our website, right here at the very top, you'll see project-based learning. We have P2 PBL how-to and then PBL library. So I'm going to start at the how-to. And this is an overview of project-based learning in general. So there's probably a good majority of you already know about PBLs and don't need all of this background information. But if you would like to brush up or see how we have attacked it on the P2 side, we start with engage, inquire, create, reflect, then share. And each of these sections of our PBLs and what the expectation is written here. This, again, is really information for you as the teacher if you want to just get an overview of what this is going to look like. But personally, I think that our library is really the meat and potatoes of what you will want to look at. So this explains everything. One of the cool things here that I do want to point out here is in the reflect, you'll see this hyperlink for opportunities. We have, it will let me open it. We have this awesome, and this is, I just think, an awesome resource for any point in your classroom. It's ideas of reflection for students, whether it's for a P2 PBL or a different way. It's just different ways to get students reflecting. This is the student self-reflection. Here are some ideas of how they could reflect before they present their PBL, student-to-student feedback, and then student-to-teacher feedback. So as you saw before, one of the sections is reflect before they share. So we've created all of these resources where we want to make it as easy as possible to give you any ideas of how you could go about doing this in your classroom. So our library has over 32, I think, different projects. And right here at the top, it says this note: to best navigate these PBL slide presentations, please see our color-coded chart. The reason why I want to point this out to you is because when I get into the slideshows, you'll see that there are a lot of slides and there's a lot of information that you can really dig into. But this chart shows you which slides always have a lot of information and they look the same in every slideshow. Which slides are great just for teachers. A lot of the slides are hidden from your students and it's just background information on the project itself. And then the green slides are ones that the teachers will need to spend extra time addressing, because there's things that you'll need to put in that are catered to your specific project. However you want to make this work for your classroom, there are parts within the slideshow that you will change, that your students will see, that will be specific to what your project will be. So again, if I were to do this, I would have this color code chart pulled up on my screen right next to where I pull up the slideshow, just so I can know, all right, this is what I need to focus on. This one's not as important. This one I'm going to see every single slideshow. It's just the exact same thing. We wanted to keep consistency in the format so it wasn't overwhelming every single time you got in there. So you'll see that our PBL projects are broken into school-wide PBL projects and then classroom PBL projects. Within each one of these, you'll see the grade bands that we believe that this fits for. And I will also show you how we have altered the slideshows, or scaffolded, I guess is the better word, for the specific grade band. One of the coolest things I really want to point out to you in these, right next to these titles of the project, are these P2 teacher implementation ideas. If you click on this, 2 years ago at one of our summits, I presented these PBLs to teacher participants in New York at the summit, and I had them go through and dig into all of these different projects and come up with ideas of how they could see this working in their classroom. And so one of the coolest things is that you can, if you're interested in a project, you could go straight to this teacher implementation ideas and already get some ideas of how teachers could see this relating to their curriculum. At this time, we were right in the midst of the pandemic, so we had them come up with ways that they could see this being virtual. And then you had any final thoughts of what they, how they see this working, either in their community, in their classroom, for their subject area. But this is a great jumping off point, these teacher implementation ideas, just to get your mind working on different ways these might work in your math classroom or your science classroom. Now, I do want to tell you, not every single one of them, like you'll see here, Story Writers, has it, because this was completely based on attendance from that summit. So some you'll see have a lot of teacher ideas and some might not have any. But again, it's a good jumping off point. So once you find a project that you're interested in, you can see, again, the grade bands. If you click on View here, it's going to take you to a folder. And in this folder, it has all the materials you will need. So each of these documents are graphic organizers that you can use throughout the project. And you will use the slideshow with your students. So this is where I was talking about that color-coded chart. This is going to break, the color-coded chart will break down the slide deck, slide by slide, telling you where you should look, what you need to know, what you need to change. So you'll see a lot of the slides are hidden. The second slide on every slide deck is our curriculum alignment, how we believe this could be aligned within any classroom, within the curriculum that is at hand. And then you will see this is the teacher overview, just telling you what the project challenge is. So you can see it, how can you as a concerned citizen encourage collaboration in your community to improve a local problem. And then it gives you product options and then ideas of who you could share the final piece with. And then it engages your students for you. We either have videos or quotations with the same way P2 does everything, where we try to make it as off the shelf as possible. So we create the discussion questions you would go through with your kids. Then your children are presented with the challenge. And then you would start to brainstorm, what do we need to know in order to solve this task? And then again, off the shelf, we have created a hidden chart with ideas of what types of questions your students might need to start brainstorming in order to achieve this project. And then this would be shared with your students, again, in the project requirements. So this is where teachers can alter it how they want it to be. You get to choose what your end project is, which would also determine how much research students might need to do, how long this project would take, based on what your project is, what you decide as the teacher, that's going to determine a lot of what your students, how much time they'll get out of it, or need to put into it, what curriculum alignment would be a part of it, all of that. So then the students would inquire, and at the bottom here at these footnotes, you'll see there's more information breaking down inquiry and what that looks like. The footnotes in all of these slide decks have a lot of outside links. Again, we didn't want to overwhelm teachers having it all in the slideshow on each slide, but the information is there if you just continue to click through. So then it gets to the reflection, which we showed you those ideas of different ways students can reflect before they share with their audience. And then at the very end are all of these optional graphic organizers that you saw right here in the folder from the beginning. And I'll just give you an example of what this looks like at a different, same project, but at a different grade level. So when it comes up, you'll see that the challenge has changed a little bit. How could you as a social activist create a plan to improve a social issue negatively affecting people in our community and convince school, town, or citizens to take action? You can see how the wording here has become more challenging. It has that convincing aspect for the upper secondary school students to work on their persuasive techniques. And then their engage also looks differently. So they have a different video that they watch. It's going to have different discussion questions. And then their challenge is repeated, just the wording is different. And then the notes for the teacher has also been changed so that teachers know what types of brainstorming students would need to come up with so that they're prepared to go into the inquiry knowing exactly what questions they need to answer while they're doing their inquiries. So I know that was a lot. It's kind of like the fire hose situation, but I'm here for questions. I think I've covered the overview of all of what we have here. So I am ready for any questions you all might have. I'm gonna stop, or no, I'll keep sharing so that way I can share anything if anyone has specific questions.
All right, so we'll open it up. Does anyone have any specific questions for Stephanie at this moment? All right, the one question I know some people were asking is what is the timing? You know, what type of, or what length of time or duration should teachers be planning to implement one of these projects?
So I think that can really be determined by the situation and how you want to use these. If I were still in the classroom, what I would do is I would go to this resource and look at the options and figure out how I could use one of these to fit into what I'm already teaching. And so all of the work and the project is already written out for me, and I can just pick and choose how I want to use it for what I'm already doing in my classroom. And I think what's cool about these projects is you could start at the very beginning of the week and you could just go consecutively throughout the days where, you know, by day 5, you are sharing with your audience. Or I think, you know, some schools have like STEM days on Fridays, and this might be a great opportunity for teachers to implement, start it one Friday and then pick up the next Friday with the next step in the project. I don't think students necessarily have to do this consecutively day after day. I don't think this could all be done in one day, but I'm thinking more of secondary where you have just a limited time with your students. But I think it would depend on what your project outcome is, what you want your students to produce. That will affect how long the students will be engaging with the project.
Awesome, thank you. Any other questions from our attendees? Saw some movement, but I know it's a Tuesday at lunchtime, so we're just trying to cram all the information as possible. The other question, and you covered it a little bit, was the core curriculum. Does this access ELA, math, any other science, any other core curriculums? If you want to just go
Yes.
back to that piece.
Yes, so one of them, I distinctly remember this game developer. One of the teacher implementation ideas was a teacher was saying how this would be great for history. PE teachers could see this being used. So again, I think it's you finding the project that you like and then having it fit into your curriculum how you see fit. One of them is historical images, which lends itself very well, obviously, to history. But I think, again, the second slide on every slideshow tells how we believe it could fit with curriculum, but then it is the teacher's choice of how they want it to work within their classroom.
Okay, thank you. We do have a question. Oh, and Melissa's answering it about summer school. So anytime you're a partner, you have access to any resource. We're not tiered, we're not a la carte. You have access from pre-K all the way up through 12, even if you're in high school. You can access anything as long as you're a partner. Yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one. All right. I think, one of the other reasons that we put this sort of at the end of the year is once testing comes along and all those core curriculums are sort of closing down and coming to an end and students don't want to sit through a math lesson or an ELA lesson. These are great because they're collaborative. They are sort of student-led. Obviously the teachers walking them through it, but they can really put their time into it in groups and work with each other. And it's just kind of a different take and a different format that might be nice at this time of year. We also have schools that do it, the whole school PBLs. They'll sort of create a whole walkthrough museum, like a science fair, if you will. But in this case, it'll be a P2 PBL fair, which has been a really neat thing to see. We've also had schools also try to incorporate them in the beginning of the year. So they really are, adaptable, can be used at any time during the year, but there's definitely spots where it fits in really nicely. So we're glad that you were able to kind of get some more information about this resource. And if you have any more questions, we'll put Stephanie's email in the chat. Do you mind, Stephanie? I know last time you didn't mind. And then Melissa and I will add ours as well. We're happy to answer any questions if you think of them as you go through the rest of your day or try to plan one out yourself. And we're happy to help. All right. I'm going to type. I'm a really bad multitasker. All right. Well, with that, we'll let you all get back to your day, and we have recorded this, so we'll send this out to you. Feel free to share it with any colleague that wanted to maybe dabble in the PBL area and share it with them. And other than that, have a wonderful rest of your week.